Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode where we discuss things you really need to know. My guest for today, he's an architect and also a very young architect. And for me, over the past few years, I've been trying to see how I can speak to young people who are entrepreneurs, how they started, the passion behind what they're doing, and also the challenges that they are facing. So joining me today is an amazing young person. But before we kickstart this conversation, stay tuned and we will be right back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abdallah Banye, good to have you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, Sheikh.
I am
Thank you for having
honored
me.
to have you.
Thank you so much for having
Habibi,
me.
you have a law. Here in this interview, you cannot say Ya Sheikh. Just say Nshuraim.
All
Good to
right.
have you on the program, man. Jazakallah khair. Thanks for agreeing to be on this interview. And I want to just go straight to our conversation for today. Let's start. What sparked the passion for you, for your love for architecture?
I feel like ever since I was in school, uh, I would say secondary school,
Yeah.
I've always had a passion for structure,
So you
you
draw
know,
structures?
just how things come together.
Yeah.
How something that's supposed to be functional can also be a work of art.
At any point in your life, at that period where you realized that, okay, fine, you love to make structures and likes of it, was the only thing you love to do, or you were having thought of, oh, I can be a doctor, or I can be a lawyer, or I can be the, or well, it was just your focus that I want to be an architect because I love structures?
Nope. I wanted to study medicine at
Ah,
first. So I got admission at Brentwood College, I think in Vancouver. So I got admission to go and do uh, m- start my medical journey. And then I think we got part of the tuition paid, and something happened and my dad changed his mind that
mashallah.
Canada was too far away. So because of that, I decided to go towards architecture because I was more passionate about it. Because the truth is, I just wanted to study medicine. I think because of him.
Because your dad was a doctor, so you had to study medicine.
Yes.
And now you're a very good architect, mashallah.
Yes.
And I get to know that for the fact that, alhamdulillah, you graduated with a distinction, both in your master's or your degree as well, am I right? And that is really good. May Allah put barakah in that for you. And when you came back to Nigeria, I know you did your service, and that was the point where we met, by the way, during your NYSC. And
Yes.
I could remember how, mashallah, you were that young person doing stuff and likes of it. So in my head, the day I met you, the first thinking that I had was that, oh, this guy's gonna go back and work for the government and mashallah and the likes of it. But before you know it, you said that you're doing your company and you called it 220. Tell me, how did 220 come about? That was amazing.
It was during my master's because after NYSC in 2017, I did my service at Julius Berger for about 3 months, and then I worked at Constrix.
Yeah.
So immediately I finished NYSC, I went back for my master's. So during my master's, my second year of master's, we had to come back to Nigeria in 2020 because of COVID. So as COVID, got very serious, everyone was on lockdown. I was bored. I still had uni work, but I was bored. So I decided, how can I come up with a company name? So it was me and my sister, I remember. We used a whiteboard in my room and we were coming up with options. So I think the date was 02/20 at that time. So we decided to go for
So the
220.
day was 02220. That was the day. You guys were trying to come up with a name.
Yeah, we were trying to come up with
Ajib,
a name.
ajib.
So the name of the company is the date.
That the idea was initiated.
Yes.
Mashallah, that's that's really amazing. I asked Allah, like, he puts barakah for you and the likes of it. So would you say a lot of young people today, they are scared to go into businesses, they're scared to go into stuff that has to do with entrepreneurship? I personally, before I went into business properly, I was like really skeptical. Should I just go for what is normal? I'll just go and work and likes of it. And but alhamdulillah, over the past few years, I've seen the benefit of being an entrepreneur, you being your own boss if you can. What would you say at that point was your biggest fear?
You know, The truth is, the idea of the company at first was just supposed to be a visualization company because I was bored at home. I was good at doing renders, and then I was thinking there's a big gap
Mm.
in the Nigerian real estate market,
Right.
whereas the visualizations are not actually good. So I thought I could bring a niche into the industry. So never in my wildest dreams did I think that we would end up being an actual construction company, because even at the moment that the company was found, I was still looking for jobs in the UK because because I was planning on doing my part 3 to be a REBA certified architect.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Royal Institute of British Architects.
Ah, I see. I see. And how did that go for you?
Well, I actually didn't end up going back because of COVID, there was a lot of people on furlough, so there were no jobs, and especially for an international student, no company is willing to sponsor.
So when you started your company, was that this fear that it was not going to work out?
Yes.
And how did you handle that moment?
I feel like once the company started gaining momentum, which I think was around August, September of 2020, obviously at that time, you have a lot of responsibility. So the fear level, it definitely comes with the territory. But what makes people different is that you use that fear as a fuel, to guide and push you, to always feel like you can do something that maybe you didn't think or you are scared of doing.
I'm always of the opinion that every young person needs someone to take them somewhere within themselves they cannot go by themselves, meaning having a mentor, somebody who has trained them, somebody who would advise them. At your journey, at what point do you have mentors, or do you even have mentors at all? Or were you the mentor of yourself?
I don't think it's possible for you to go through life without looking up to someone. A mentor is for you to get a mentor, it doesn't have to be someone you have a personal relationship with. I feel like I've looked at how architects all over the world have pushed their ideas, and for me, that is a form of mentorship because I see their work and I see that it's possible. So it pushes me to kind of believe in myself as well.
Coming back to your company at the moment, how many staff do you have?
At the moment, we have 3 active sites with about 50 to 80 staff.
Whoa, amazing! And how many staff did you start with?
Started just the 2 of us, me and my partner, Kobji.
Those are the 2 of you.
Just the 2 of us.
Mashallah. The first year, was it when you employed all this stuff, or it took a long time?
No, it took 2 years.
2 years.
In the first year, I think we started just the 2 of us. After about 6 months, we added a few people, maybe like 2, and then we were 4 for about 1 year, and then from there we started growing, getting interns, getting NYSC coppers as well. So I feel like it's important to try and give back to the young people that are enthusiastic.
Talking about your 50 staff at the moment, how do you feel knowing that the livelihood of 50 people is ending?
It's a lot of pressure, definitely, but at the same time, if you plan and you're prudent about the entrepreneurship and your business, is easy to manage.
Coming back to still your company and as a whole, before to this interview, I went to your buildings. I saw the one you did in Ketampe. I saw had the attention to details. And to be sincere, it was quite different from a lot of places I've gone to see, structures being done likes of it. Tell me, what makes your structures different from the normal structures we do have?
Because we see buildings as a life form, as a living organism on its own. So us as humans that live in residential buildings, we're just part of the organism. So we try our best to design specifically based on functions that are going to serve people.
Amazing. And how's that been going?
It's been good, but sometimes it's a bit difficult trying to get your ideas across because not everybody understands.
So how do you find a balance?
Well, you have to make money to pay your staff, but at the same time, when you are given creative freedom by your client, you try your best.
So most as an actor, you guys prefer creative freedom for that?
100%, because we have our ideas, we relay them to our clients, and sometimes a lot of the clients don't understand exactly what your vision is.
And what are the other projects you have coming up now, and why are you doing them?
We currently have 3 active projects. We have one in Katampe Extension. We have one completed site in Katampe Extension, one ongoing in Katampe Extension. We have a personal project in Gadua. So I feel like that is our baby, if you would say, because it's our first real estate project that we're building 4 terraces. And we also have an industrial warehouse that we're building.
That's amazing. I also see that you've done like a lot of schools in Katsina. You build schools, classrooms, and likes of it. For me, I think anything that someone does and it has a direct impact on the people, it goes a long way. Tell me, what would you advise people who are at the moment want to go into business and they want to see how they can succeed properly? What would you advise them to do at this moment?
My advice is to look for something you're passionate about, because the lows are more than the highs. So in those lows is mostly your passion about what you're doing that will get you out of it. But at the same time, when the highs come, trust me, they're worth it.
Can you give us an example of some of your lows?
When we first started, for 2 years, me and my partner did not collect salary. All we were doing is looking at how we can keep our company afloat. We always tried our best to make sure we invested back into the company more than ourselves.
All right, dear viewers, we're going to take a short break, and inshallah, we'll be right back and we'll continue with this conversation. Welcome back. Alhamdulillah, we're discussing with Abdallah Banye. I love that name. Allah bless him, mashallah. And our conversation has been on how he started his company. And as I said earlier during our program, we want to know the story of young people who have started their business, where their ideas came from. Alhamdulillah, we've discussed with him so far, and he told us that his ideas came sometimes during COVID-19. And how he even got the name of the company was due to the day he initiated the name. So I rather was trying to get the name, him and his sister, and hence the name 220. Abdallah Banye, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go back to, we've talked about all the, before we went on a break, we're talking about the lows and the highs, and mashallah, tabarakallah. So let's go to some of the lows you've gone into, basically during your, what they call it, during your time as an architect, or rather during all the projects you've done as an architect. Tell me, what are the most challenging moments for you personally that you've had, either with clients or rather with a particular project?
Definitely we've had challenges, especially at the beginning, because when you start, at the very beginning, immediately you're contacted by someone, you get excited. So we got a lot of people wanting us to do things for them, and immediately we do it, or when it gets done, and then we don't get paid or we don't hear from them. Some of them, you call them, you send them messages, they read it, they ignore you. So for me, I felt like that was something that really got to me, because I kept thinking, how could someone do that? How could you contact me? You made me go all the way to your site. You made me take measurements. You made me do everything you wanted. And then I finish everything for you. I give you an invoice, and then you ignore me or you don't want to pay, even after we've had the conversation about payment during the process. So it made me tougher I guess, in dealing with clients. So we got a general manager who kind of helped us put things into place. So before we move forward with anything, there are proper channels and proper uh, proceedings
Right.
done. So definitely for me personally, that was one of my biggest challenges because, sometimes when I guess you're young, a bit naive, so, you get so excited, enthusiastic about a situation, and then out of nowhere, you just get disappointed. So sometimes it made me not even want to go to work the next day or not even want to wake up.
SubhanAllah, I totally relate with you because dealing with some people sometimes, I tell people that in life you meet your dream makers and your dream killers, right? And sometimes your dream killers will bring you so down. They will show you, I say, oh, we love you, mashallah, we're there for you, want to make your work go forward, want to do
Yep.
this, and they give you a job. And before you know, you pay my money, they don't want to pay you. And the likes of it. And it makes you lose hope in some adults, subhanAllah.
100%, because you look at someone, you have so much respect and greeting them, but then at the end of the day they treat you like your mates or something. It's a
SubhanAllah.
bit somehow.
So yeah, if you're an adult watching this, please pay the younger people when they work for you. Pay them their money so you leave your honor and will respect you as best as possible. Mashallah. So tell me, basically this was something that happened. You've put measures in that whereby you have a general manager, you have process, you have how things go now. You basically have a proper structure
Yeah.
of what happens and what doesn't happen. So maybe I guess right now, for instance, maybe before somebody calls you, they must put a certain of commitment first before you go and like so. Am I right?
Yes.
Mashallah. Tell me, what's next for 220 at the moment? What is the next big thing for 220? I know of your baby project in Gadwa, am I right?
Yes.
That's coming up, inshallah. And how many houses is that?
We're building 4 houses.
Amazing, amazing. So I know of that baby project coming up, inshallah. Tell me, what is the next big thing for your company?
What I think is important for us is to make sure that we keep that passion for designing, for making the life of people that we do things for
Right.
that much easier, no matter how little it is. So I feel like the next big challenge for us is no longer in the construction industry, is more of like within ourselves as a company.
Right.
Everybody that works with us, we need to make sure we keep that spark alive
Amazing. And how do you intend to keep the spark?
by making sure the projects that we do, we still is more than just about profits, is also in par with the design process, the thought process, the creative thinking,
Right.
right. the passion, what made us all go into architecture at the beginning, because I'm sure it's not an easy course to study because it takes a lot of your time, but if you have that passion for it, definitely, like, you'd be willing to push through any barrier.
So I think, amazingly, because you studied architecture in the university based on as well as in your master's as well, it's way easier for you to work with other architects because you will be able to understand their value. Am I right?
100%, because architects are extremely undervalued in a country like Nigeria, and I think everyone thinks they can do
Yeah, don't call it like this. Just do the drawing. Just draw this stuff.
those drawing stuff, which the truth is, I went to school for 6 years. So you're telling me in a few months that you've worked in a site, you can think like me? I don't think it's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me, basically, you do a lot of drawings. You work with clients. How do you deal with criticisms personally?
At first, like I said, everything is a learning process. And definitely a lot of these things at first, they get to you. They put you down, they discourage you. But once you find out that what you're doing and you build your confidence in what you're doing, it makes it a lot easier for you to take criticism because there's constructive criticism, which 100% everybody needs, but then there are some that they're just to put you down. So once you learn to differentiate between them, it makes it easier for you to navigate.
Wow, that's quite deep. Jazakallah. I think I'll implement that in my life as well, inshallah. So tell me, a lot of young people who are watching this at the moment, they see you as a young architect, and mashallah, at this point you're 20,
26.
you're 26, and you've achieved so much, alhamdulillah, over a short period of time. A young guy who's watching you out there at the moment, or a young girl who wants to be an architect and wants to follow your footsteps, what will be the first thing you advise them to do?
My advice is, if you're an architect or you're in school studying architecture, you know how challenging it is, but you're still pushing yourself. So you need to apply that in your real life as well. Once you leave school, because you're working so hard to get a certificate. So you look at this next phase of your life as well as you're working towards something, like a goal. So you make sure, even if you don't feel like it, you keep pushing yourself. You keep pushing yourself. As long as there is constant growth, no matter how little it is, it's very important.
Thank you so much, Abdallah Banye, for coming on the program. This has been a beautiful conversation. I had to force you to speak, Habibi. Mashallah, that was a beautiful one. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Nshuraim. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure is all mine, Habibi. Thank you so much. All right, dear viewers, we've come to the end of this conversation. That was Abdallah Banye, or in other words, Abdullahi Banye, the CEO of 220 Group. We've had an amazing conversation, and as I said earlier, I'm on a journey on bringing young people, young entrepreneurs who are doing amazing stuff out there, who have also made themselves different from the regular people in trying to bring value, and not just by them creating things that will bring them money, but by putting their sincerity of purpose in order for them to reach the required need of our community. And we ask Allah to bless them. Until the next episode, I'll leave you all in the care of the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum.